Excellent, thank you. Okay, so let's take a look at the syllabus. So I already mentioned, right, what the purpose of the course is. Lectures. So we're going to have lectures twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays. You're not required to come to the lectures, although I strongly encourage you to come and join me every Monday and Thursday from 7 to 9, where we're going to be covering what's going to happen that week. Although again, it is meant for the course to be asynchronous, right? Where you can take a look at this video later on at your own pace. So this is going to be recorded on Zoom, and it's available through Zoom on Canvas, right? So if you go to Canvas, there's a Zoom meeting where that you presumably came here, right? That you should be able to see all those recordings at later on. Let's see something on the chat. Yeah, that's okay. So there's going to be the recording of this will be available to you shortly after the lecture, maybe 30 or maybe an hour perhaps after the recordings. I'm also going to be sharing these videos on YouTube and also on Twitter if you prefer to consume the content of there. But certainly it will be available to you on Canvas. Even though you can consume this at your own pace, I strongly encourage you not to, kind of let the lectures pile up, right? And maybe having 2 or 3 lectures that you haven't looked at, and then you plan on binge watching later on to catch up, maybe during the weekend, because there is time-sensitive content in the course, right? And we'll be talking about what's due later on this Thursday or next Monday, and so. If you don't keep up with that time sensitive material, right, you might be late with certain things, right? So please make an effort to consume this as right away once they are recorded. The assignments, there will be one assignment every week, which are meant to let you practice certain topics, right, that we'll be covering that week. So for instance, this week we're going to be talking about setting up our development environment and building our first web application, Hello World application. We're going to be deploying this to a remote server on Netlify and start learning about HTML or all sorts of static content, such as paragraphs and headings and tables and lists. So some just getting us going on some of the really simple boilerplate stuff. Right, we're going to be deploying on Netlify and then sharing that first go around, right, with our TAs so they can take a look at it online. You started with this today, with the idea that you would then follow up on the assignments on your own. There is a team project, so due at the end of the semester, and you are absolutely encouraged to get started right away. Okay, ideally, the way that you would follow up is that you would use what you learned in the in your assignment, right, for assignment 1, assignment 2, assignment 3, to kind of follow along with your own project, right? That once you learn about HTML, you can start prototyping what your application might look like, right? Because you'll know how to create headers and paragraphs and forms that folks can type in and submit, right? So you'll be learning these things, and you'll be learning then next week about how to style it and make it pretty. Right? So you could, whatever you learn on that particular assignment on that particular week, right, you should be able to transfer that knowledge to start prototyping on what a project might look like, right? So you are encouraged to make groups of 4 or maybe 5 students each team, and to work collaboratively together, right? For the assignments, no, the assignments are meant to be completed on your own, right? So you work that on your own. And yeah, for the assignments, we're all going to be working on a particular project. We're all going to be building something together, right? And so I'll get you started here in class, and then you're going to continue and complete it on your own at home, right? And we're all going to be building the same thing, right? Following very strict, fairly strict guidelines, almost copy paste the content, right? And just to try out and learn about that particular topic. Now, for the project, you're welcome to use your own imagination, right? Instead of React.js, maybe you want to try out Vue.js, right? Or Angular.js or some other rendering engine. Although in class, we're going to be using Node.js for the server, you're welcome to explore maybe Python, right? Or C# or some other middle tier, right? Here in class, we're going to be using MongoDB for the database solution. For the project, you're welcome to use other things such as MySQL or Oracle or something that you might feel more comfortable with, right? But for the assignment, you have to follow the instructions, as very, very strictly, right? But for the project, it's much more open-ended. So here's the Zoom that you should be able to use this link to join our meetings on Tuesday, on Mondays and Thursdays from 7 to 9. It's all times are Eastern time. So for you, it might be maybe 2 or 3 hours earlier, or if you are in Europe, I know some of you might be in India or even China. This might be a little bit too late for you guys. So certainly, right, if you want to, you're welcome to definitely consume this content tomorrow. So yeah, it's everything online. There is a required text, right, that follows the content fairly parallel to the content in the same order. And there are certain aspects of the assignment and some aspects in the quizzes or exams that expects that you have been following up the reading material that for the text. It is fully online, and so yeah, you're encouraged to do that. The instruction team right now it's just me, but the TAs are going to fill this out. And so these are the office hours that we are offering you, right? And so there's going to be lots and lots of office hours available for you throughout the week, including weekends. Usually the assignments will be due on Mondays, right? So like today at the end of at midnight, right? And so there'll be TAs or they're available throughout the week and throughout the weekend as well, Mondays as well, where you can ask for help on your doubts. So my TA office hours are going to be Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Friday mornings from 8 to 9 a.m. But for those that might be on the West Coast, that may be a little bit too early for you. So I'll be doing 3 to 4 p.m. as well on Tuesdays and Fridays. The TAs are going to be copying their office hours here, but it's also available on Canvas. So on Canvas, if you go to the office hour map, in there, you'll see all the different office hours that TAs are available. So that this is me at 8 a.m. and me again at 3. But we have, we're trying to cover enough days. We're trying to convince some students, some TAs to cover Sundays as well. Although nobody has taken on that offer. I need to update because I don't have hyperlinks here. But each one of these will be hyperlinks to their Zoom or their team rooms, right, where you can join for the office hours. So yeah, so we're trying to give you enough opportunities for you, to ask for help. And please go to these office hours. Their TAs are waiting for you to go and bug them. All right. All right. So the agenda. So again, this is a very, very short semester, right? It's gonna take us 2 months, right, to cover what we normally cover in 4 months, right? So yeah. So this week, we're going to be talking mostly about introducing the course and what's the internet and World Wide Web, blah, 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 how to set up a development environment, right? And then learn about HTML, right? Where we'll learn about all this, a lot of the simple stuff such as paragraphs and headings and lists and tables and whatnot, forms, creating forms, whatnot, right? So a lot of it's just static content, right? Even though in the assignments you might be asked to say that there's a form that's going to do this and that and the other. Obviously, since we don't know the how to use our JavaScript yet, we don't know how to run code. None of that behavior is capable yet, right? Eventually it will, but the first few assignment, I would say the first 2 weeks, right? All the content is just static content. Okay. Excuse me. Excuse me. All right. So this first assignment, again, it's very quickly, it's going to be due next Monday. All right. So you need to get going with this, right? Again, it's mostly doing the setup and system setup and HTML. And we're going to be learning about the simpler HTML tags. Now we're going to be learning about HTML all throughout the semester, right? This an assignment is mostly wants to just introduce the topic, but we are certainly going to be covering more of that particular topic in the next several weeks. And then next week we're going to be talking about CSS, how to make these screens, these web pages, how to make them a little more prettier, right? And so we're going to be learning about CSS, styling, color, position, layout, grids, right? The box model, and then also we're going to be learning about one of many CSS libraries that can help us make the screen look much more professional, more polished, more finished. How to use best practices, and also make it responsive so that our content can be used not only on desktop but also on smaller screens such as tablets or even phones. Right? So up until then, the first all is static, and there will be a first quiz Q1 next Thursday. So all the quizzes are going to be on Thursdays, right? So all these quizzes are online. So you're welcome to do them on your own, right? They'll be made available the day of, right? So it'll be made available next Thursday, and then you'll have 24 hours to complete it. Actually, no, I think it's 48 hours. You have 48 hours to complete it. So from midnight on beginning Thursday, right, all the way up to Friday at midnight. Right, so you have 48 hours to complete the quiz on your own, right? Again, it's open book. Usually it takes 30 minutes to complete the quiz, and it's a lot of multiple choice, a lot of fill in the blanks, right? And you'll have a grade right away, right? So it will auto grade itself, right? And you'll get it, and you'll know how well you did. Let's see, there's a question on the chat. Oops, where'd it go? Question in the chat. Yes, the quizzes are timed, so you'll have 30 minutes to complete the quiz. It is open book, so you could, or you can. The only thing I ask you is to please don't use ChatGPT. Okay, ChatGPT could answer all your questions, could do the whole project, all the assignments, on its own, right? So let's stick to us learning on our own, right? Let's see. For the lectures on React, we'll be cover both Create React App. Yeah, we're not going to be using Next.js, right? It's only Create React App. But I do encourage you to explore Next.js on your own. Yes, the exams and the quizzes are all open book. Yep. So then after learning about CSS and styling and whatnot, the third week, we are going to be learning about JavaScript and using React.js for creating dynamic content. We'll be learning about component-based technology, large applications into multiple screens, and each screen having multiple components that you can import, right, and build even more complex content. So we'll be learning about that, and also how to implement navigation from one screen to the other, And then on week 4, we're going to continue on React.js. We'll learn how to maintain state using Redux, and we'll be learning how to maintain state using useState and all different types of hooks, right? That allows us to interact just like as if we're classes, but using just functional programming. So we'll have 2 weeks of just React.js, and then on week 5 we're going to be introducing. So this is halfway point on the semester, right? So then this 4th week we're going to have our first exam. The first exam will also be on your own, right? So we're not going to be doing in class, right? So you're welcome to, again, start early on Thursday. It'll be available maybe a little longer, maybe 72 hours, right? So you'll have a chance to do it either Thursday, Wednesday, Friday, or even Saturday, right? And complete it on your own. Again, it's open book. It is timed. It's 100 minutes long, and it's just one big quiz, right? So you'll have practice multiple quizzes, right, to just understand what the format of these exams are. They're all fill in the blanks, multiple choice, right? Match this with that, right? And it's self-graded, right? A lot of these quizzes and exams are puzzles, right? That you have to really step through the code, right, and fill in the blanks so that it does whatever it is that we're asking you to do. Let's see a question on the chat. Is there a theory essay? No essays. It's all code. So you're not going to be writing code. I will be giving you code snippets, right, that you need to fill in the blanks, right, so that the code does something. So I'll explain what the code is supposed to do or what it should accomplish, right? And then you read the code, which will be perhaps several code snippets, right, of a couple of files that interact with one another. And you have to fill in the blanks so that it does whatever it is that it's supposed to do. Yeah, I have a couple of other modules that talk about other technologies. Sure. Will the quiz and exam be released on Canvas? Yeah, all these exams and quizzes are on Canvas. Is they available? Yes, the textbook is all electronic. There is no printed version. It's all electronic format. Quizzes, topically fill in the blanks. Yes, multiple choice. Yep, very good. Yep, yeah, no PDF. Now, some of you might be in a country where you don't have access to certain things. So let me know, reach out to me, and we can work something for you. So yeah, offline. It's like ensuring cross-browser compatibility. I did to cover some of that. I no longer cover that cross-browser compatibility. I mean, we'll talk about it, what the challenges were and how it was supported, but we're not going to be actively covering that topic. Okay. All right. So we'll do. So after the second half of the semester, as I said, right, it's going to be covering server-side technologies. So we're going to be introducing Node.js as our mechanism for building our own HTTP servers from scratch. That we'll be learning about implementing RESTful web services, being able to make network connections from the server, connections to the database and whatnot, responding to requests, using queries and parameters, and passing data using the body as using JSON format. Let's see the chat for the text. Which section? Yeah, it's not. It has the wrong name. Yes, use Spring 2023. It's the same. It's the version that we're using now. It's the label hasn't been changed. Okay, so after that, we'll be learning about using a database. We're going to be using MongoDB in this class. It's a non-relational database that is very nicely interacts or integrates nicely with Node.js, so that in the end, we're going to be having an entire stack that is going to be JavaScript and JSON all the way through, right? From the user interface to the middle tier, all the way down to the file system and where it's, storage in JSON, right? And back and forth. So it's nicely going to be integrated nicely. Then on week 7, having covered all this material, right? We're going to be, I'm going to demonstrate, right, on how to get started with the project. Although I don't mean for you to get started on week 7, right? By now, hopefully you have already started on the project several weeks before, right? But I do want to give you an idea of how you would go about, implementing a lot of the requirements that we're going to be going over, the project requirements, and just to make sure that we're all on the same page on what each requirement means, right? And that we all understand the same thing. And I'll give you examples on how to go about implementing all these things, right? So we'll focus a lot on some of the more thorny and harder parts of the projects early on. And you're welcome to reuse as much as you want the source code that I'm going to be sharing with you, for your own project, right? And you'll be updating your project, or if you want, right, to be able to make use of whatever material I give you. So you're welcome to reuse all the material that I provide you. All the code is going to be available on GitHub for all the assignments that we're going to be starting together here. And you're welcome to reuse any content that I share with you. Please do not share or you reuse any source code from anyone else, right? Even if it's from previous semesters. If you find some source code from previous semesters, please don't reuse it. My TAs, some of my TAs have been with me for several semesters. They're very well aware of previous assignments, previous projects, right? So don't don't make the mistake of reusing any content. Some of them might be very well aware that they've seen the same material elsewhere. So please don't do that. You should be convincing us that this is your content. So on Thursday, should the exam quiz be finished after class rather than occupying action? Yeah. We're not be doing the quizzes or the exams live here in class, since those would take up 100 minutes, right? And so we don't have that kind of time. So please do the exams and the quizzes asynchronously with you on your own. If you could, if you want, perhaps come to an office hour and maybe you can ask questions just if you have something quick so answer something during the office hours. But yeah, I don't want to take time in the lecture time, right? Because we have a lot of material to cover. Are there any penalty-free late days just in case if we need it? So the late policy is as follows, right? So all assignments have a due date, which is on Mondays at midnight, and the late policy is as follows. So for every hour that you're late, right, we're going to be deducting 1 percentage point off. Right? So say you would normally get 100 in assignment 1, right? But you, instead of submitting it at midnight Monday, you submitted it at 5 in the morning or something, right? So if you normally would get 100, you would be deducted 5 points. You would get a 95. Right? So that keeps it simple, right? If you need another 3 hours or another couple hours, that's fine. You don't even have to ask for permission. Just go ahead, right? Take the few hours extra, and whatever you submitted it on Canvas, that's the timestamp that we'll use, right, to deduct any points off. How much time would be assignments need to complete successfully? Assignments, probably you need anywhere between maybe 6 hours, maybe. You should be able to complete it. How much time would be assignment? When should we ideally start working on the project? I would say once you enter React.js and that the week of the, what is that? Yeah, once you know how to do a render dynamic content on week 3, right? And you know how to start breaking out content into different components. I mean, that already allows you to start doing some simple navigation, breaking out this into a prototype of what it would look like, and faking the navigation. If you click on something, it navigates to different portions of the application. So you totally could start working on week 3, maybe the end of week 3. At a minimum, you should be starting to find folks who might want to work with you, and agreeing on what is it that you want to build, right? Also, the project, one of the, I think, most challenging parts of the project is that you are required to interact with some third-party API, right? Whether you're interacting, you have to go fetch maybe some dynamic stock values, or maybe weather, or maybe sports results, right? Or maybe some events that are happening around Boston, right? Or whatever choice you want of topic that you want to choose, you have to come up with some third-party API that gives you data, right? That you need to be able to go fetch this dynamically and render it dynamically on your content, on your page, right? So that's one of the more challenging parts of the application. And so I would encourage you to tackle that first, right? As a team, agree on a topic and identify an API that might be useful for that. Okay. How many members? I believe we said 5 members maximum. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So that I will be working on a project. I'm going to be building an application that interacts with the Napster API. It's going to go out and fetch songs and albums and artists, right? All the different album art, right? Lyrics and all the tracks in a particular album, and you're going to be able to play that song, and then the project is asks you to build a small social network around a topic of your choice, right? Whether it's food or sports or movies or financing, economics, stocks, or artificial intelligence, right? Maybe that's what you do. You do integration with ChatGPT, right? And maybe have ChatGPT create the whole thing for you. And so build a small little social network around that topic. So for instance, for me, I'm going to be building a Napster application where folks can search for their favorite artist or album, right? And then they can like the album or like a particular track, or maybe write a review about a song, right? And then folks that look for the same album could see whatever review I wrote, right? They could see that I like that song, right? And maybe they can navigate and see my profile, right? And in my profile, they can see that I've written all the reviews and these are all the albums that I like, and maybe they can follow me and I can follow them, right? And we can see each other's content. So that's what I'm going to be building, right? So on week 7, right, I'll start building that. Having covered all the required technology, right, and infrastructure that we need, right, to be able to support this, right? Being able also, one of the things that we're going to be covering is how do you handle multiple users, right? That a single server can communicate and have conversations with multiple users simultaneously, right? And so that when I ask, it knows the songs that I like, right? But if you ask, right, the request comes from you, you'll respond with the albums that you like, right, and so on and so forth. So we'll see how that work simultaneously, right? So team formation. So Piazza has a tool that I think I need to turn on maybe that allows you to find or collaborate and find folks who want to work together. But certainly Canvas also has a tool where you can create your own team, and you can go ahead and start creating teams and letting other folks know that they can join that team. At the end of the semester, you are asked to fill out a form, right, that says your team, right, the name of your team, your team members, and so on and so forth, right, and with your emails and contact information, and filling out a form. I'm saying, how is that, how is it that make give us use cases so that we can verify, right, that your application fulfills the requirements for the project. Okay, and so at the end of the semester, you're going to demo this. You're going to fill out the form. You're kind of like a checklist, right? Then I did do this. Yeah, the requirements is, yeah, I did that. I did it. Check. Right, and then at the end of the semester, you'll demo this to the TAs. And the TA is going to go with you throughout with the list, right? It says, okay, well, demonstrate that you can log in, demonstrate that you can search for your favorite song or whatever, right? And then you can have and then you can go to that song and play that song, and you can review the song and like the song, and people can come in and see the yeah, I'll share the checklist with you later on. I guess I can share with from last semester. I'll share in a separate on Piazza from last semester, and but I'll have to tweak it a little bit for this semester. So do we need to submit a project report after demo? No project report. No project report. You just have to implement and fulfill the requirements in the project, and we'll go over together later on Thursday. All right. Okay. So that's the. Oh wait. Those are the topics. So yeah. So the week of the 8th, right? So the project is due on the 26th, and so that week, right? So that's the last week that we're together. You'll be asked to demo your projects to the TA, right? You'll have to register for when the TAs are available, and you'll demo to the TAs, and then also exam 2. There's only 2 exams. Exam 2 will be made available that week, right? And you'll have, again, about 72 hours to do the exam. And I think it'll be available on the 26th, and then it'll be due 3 days later. Okay. And then that's it. Yeah. Let's see. Any text editor recommended for easy debugging? Yeah, I used to use IntelliJ. It was quite good for debugging. I've moved over to VS Code. IntelliJ takes up a lot of resources. It's a huge beast. And VS Code, I found that it's that's so much easier and snappier and much faster. But either one works.